The blue ribbon panel of the Bo-Biden Cancer Moonshot recommended as one of its first recommendations that patients be more engaged in research, that they have better access to their own data, that they have a better understanding of what it means to be involved in cancer research, and they feel more like a team player. I actually heard a patient say he doesn't feel like a guinea pig, he feels like a test pilot, and that's what we really want. We want patients to understand how critical they are in the process. So because at the Center for Cancer Research where I work, we feel we have a opportunity in rare tumors that may be difficult to address in other parts of the country. We proposed a rare tumor patient engagement network. And the idea behind this is to set up a patient portal where rare tumor patients can come, have their own little piece of portal, which has a place where they can provide data for research. They can keep track of their informed consents. They can then get results back, either their own individual results or finding out what's going on with the study, what are we learning about the kind of cancer they have. And so the idea is to really make the patients feel like they're an important part of the process, and this is their little place as part of it. So the Rare Tumor Patient Engagement Network right now has two major arms. One is for neuro-oncology, because all brain cancers are rare. And the other is a pediatric and young adult branch, because all pediatric tumors are also rare. So that's where we're starting, but we're hoping that we'll build infrastructure that can be used across all rare cancers. The one I'm working on most closely is this pediatric and young adult rare solid tumor network. Yes, so my part stands for My Pediatric and Adult Rare Tumor Network. And this is one of the arms of the Rare Tumor Patient Engagement Network. And it is a network that's focused on patients that are pediatric, adolescents, or young adults, which sort of 30 or less years old, and have solid tumors. So it's a big focus on sarcomas. And we got a lot of neuroendocrine tumors that we're looking at. And the idea is that young adults and adolescents have some unique challenges that they face when they receive a cancer diagnosis that's sort of compounded by having a rare cancer diagnosis, feelings of isolation, not knowing anybody else like them with this kind of a disease. So there's also a component to all of this of trying to provide support, trying to learn how to support adolescents and young adults better, and pediatric patients and their families better. So we've also got a psychosocial aspect to the research that we're doing, which I'm very excited about. And so it's sort of what I was saying. We're having the patients come in, provide information about their experience and provide samples, and then try to compile all of that together, and we're hoping that we'll find some patterns that haven't been seen before that might lead to new therapeutics. And in all of this, we're going to be looking at whether these patients are also candidates for interventional trials, because we do want to get these patients into trials that might provide a treatment as well. But this allows us sort of a blanket protocol that anybody can join. Even if they're not eligible for a clinical trial, they can still participate in this. So we're trying to work very closely with the advocacy organizations, and NORD is a great example of that, of course. But in some cases, the patient may not have an advocacy organization for their particular kind of tumor. It may be so rare that there aren't enough people to form a group. So we're looking into ways of taking advantage of social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Rare Disease Day and things like that, where we can sort of try and reach out and get the patients more involved without necessarily having to go through that advocacy group. But I think the ways in which advocates and patients really help out researchers is participating in clinical trials. I think that there are ideas that don't get tested because there aren't enough people to test them in the trial, and that's a really sort of sad thing, that there might be a therapy out there that never gets really tested rigorously. So participating in clinical trials is huge, and we want people to understand what that really means, so that it's not such a scary thing necessarily, and so that they understand the value that they're providing to us. Another way patients really help us is to provide samples of their tumors so that we can study them. In many cases, we can try and use those tumor samples to make model systems so that are able to be perpetuated, so that we can test drugs on them over and over and over again. So that's a huge opportunity. And then things like going and talking to your congressman, going and talking to your government representatives about how, even though rare tumors individually only affect a very few number of people, as a group they're affecting a lot of people, and they're an important thing to be funded and to be supported, and that a quarter of all cancer deaths are people with rare cancers. So it's an important issue, and patients are the best spokesmen. And I also think just coming and being honest with us, contacting us and telling us what's important. I think that we get focused on what we think is the most important thing, but it's very, very important for the patients to come to us and say, these are the issues that really affect my quality of life when I have this.